I got this question the other day. It went as follows. A lady says she has a big problem trying to sell her house because the mortgage is impossible to handle and it's beyond their capabilities. And so they want to sell it, and the house is not selling. In the meantime, she didn't like the schools where the kids were in, so they switched the schools to other schools. And then they borrowed money to put a down payment on another more modest house in a different city, and they're moving to the other one, and everything's set and perfect and ready to go except for one little problem, that the house is not selling. And it's already been 1 month on the market, but it hasn't sold. And we're getting stressed out. We don't know what to do because we can't afford the mortgage and we can't afford this. We don't know what to do. And she feels overwhelmed and she feels like it's impossible. Now, I breathed a sigh of relief when I heard the question. And I told her so. I said, I thought you were calling about shalom bayis issues. I thought everything was falling apart. That meant the marriage is falling apart. The issue is the house. Oh, good, okay. She says, how can you make light of my issue? It's a real issue. So I listened, and I told her, I was wondering, like, so what should I do? Find a buyer? You need a broker for that. Like, I'm not a broker, and I don't know how to do this. But then I said, if you're calling me, you're probably not looking for a broker. More likely, what we're looking for is, I guess, a dose of bitachon and feeling a little bit more secure about yourself. So I went through with her, like, what's the worst that's going to happen? What's the worst case scenario? And we went through, and she says, what? And that'll happen, and that'll happen, and it'll be terrible, and then we'll be stuck in our house, and we won't know where to go, and we'll lose all the money, and she said, that'll be terrible, and you'll be alive. Once you accept the biggest disaster, the worst case scenario in your life, and you become okay with it, now it's not so bad. Okay, yeah, and you'll still be alive. And what will you do? It'll be bad, but you'll be alive and well, and in Mitzvah Hashem, everything will work out. So what you want to do is to be able to accept the worst case. And then you look at yourself and you say, okay, so just notice that you're feeling overwhelmed and stuck and helpless. And she really felt all that. And I'm angry at my husband because, he's the one who made the decision and it was all his fault and all because of him. And I'm just upset. And we got through all those various feelings and we just put them all together, all the hard, difficult feelings, we put it all together. And what do we discover? That when you talk things out and you go to your therapist and you let go of all your feelings. Rabbis can also be therapists sometimes. So then you feel better because you said it. So she's like, you know what, Rabbi? The only thing in life that I can't control, everything else I'm able to do something about. But the house, getting a buyer, I can't control it. And so I explained to him that that's an illusion. You think that everything else you control. You control nothing. And the buyer for the house, that's the issue. That's the one place where Hashem is showing you crystal clear. See, I'm in control of that. I want you to get comfortable with being out of control. Get comfortable with the fact that Hashem is the one who controls it. Because once you're doing that, now you get this beautiful relationship with Hashem. And once you have that relationship, now you'll notice how everything comes from Hashem. And everything that goes on is actually beautiful, spectacular, and wonderful. And we went through a whole conversation for half an hour. And I think when she spoke it out, she felt better, a lot better. So I said, so what's the bottom line? Have bitachon in Hashem, trust in Hashem. What does trust in Hashem mean? Not what you think of what you've been doing till now, which is being sure that Hashem is going to get your house to be sold. No. Bitachon in Hashem means that whatever's happening now is good. Whether the house will be sold or not, it'll be good. Everything is great and awesome. When you allow yourself to feel how great and wonderful it is now, your energy becomes free, letting go. And when you do, good things happen. Because here's the story. When you're feeling overwhelmed, and when you're feeling insecure, and when you're feeling helpless and stuck and resentful of your husband and all the other problems that happen to you in life, that's why the house is not being sold. It's blocking your energy. So if I do this, the house will be sold? I don't know. But it'll be good. It'll be great, and you'll see that it'll be great, and you'll feel the great. It's called tracht gut. Wird sein gut, if you actually truly feel that it's good. So, at the end of the conversation, thank God, she felt better. I said, don't worry, it's going to come back soon. But for now, yeah. Then she said to me, she asked this question, and that question got me thinking. She said, okay, so if that's the case, why do I have to get it broken? Why do I have to do anything? If I'm just going to let go and trust in the Almighty, so then let's do that. That's so much fun. That's so much better. Why must I actually go do things? Why do I have to go, work hard to find a broker, to show the house, to clean it every time, and to make sure I do all my things? Why do I have to have all my cards lined up in the material world in a real way? Why can't I just rely on Hashem? And that's the question. Why is it that if we have bitachon, Hashem still wants hishtadlut? He still wants us to go do things in the world. And I said, that's a great question. Let's explore today why that is. Hashem wants her to feel relaxed, to go through all your emotions, let it go, let it go. That ain't easy. That's excruciating, hard work. And then once you've done the hard work, Hashem says, now go do the actual physical work. And if you don't, then bitachon doesn't work. It only works when you do the actual, you do the spiritual work inside, the work inside, and then you go do things. And if you don't, it ain't gonna work. So the Gemara says, Kol hakoyre kriyat shema b'lo tefillin. It's a Gemara in tractate Brachot. Whoever reads the Shema without tefillin, right, in the morning, when you say the Shema, you put tefillin on your head and your heart, and then you wrap yourself, and then you say the Shema. If you say the Shema without tefillin, it's as if you offered a zevach belo mincha, which means olah belo mincha. A korban olah is a sacrifice that gets totally consumed by the mizbeach, without a mincha. A mincha means a flour offering, a grain offering. So whenever you offered a korban olah, you offered with it a korban mincha. The olah was an animal, which was offered on the mizbeach, and the mincha is the grain. And the zevach, every korban needs nesachim. Nesachim is libations. You pour the oil, pour the wine on the mizbeach. On Sukkot, you pour the water too. That's the nesachim. So saying kriyat shema without tefillin is like offering a korban, a sacrifice, without the mincha, or like the sacrifice without the libations. Now, what's the connection? What's one got to do with the other? Actually, saying the Shema is exactly verbatim. It's the same as offering a korban to Hashem. Like, you ever offered a sacrifice to Hashem? Do you ever even understand what it means that once upon a time the Jews sat in the temple and they offered animals all the time? They sacrificed them and they offered animals. What does that mean, to offer animals to Hashem? And when we unpack and understand what it means to offer an animal to Hashem, we see why tefillah, davening today, is the same as offering a korban to Hashem. It's exactly the same thing. Offering a korban means taking the sheep, putting him on the mizbeach, offering him as a korban to Hashem. That's exactly what you're doing today, offering an animal to Hashem. But today we don't have sacrifices. What do we have? Davening. What's the connection? Here's how it goes. So, man is a very complicated, complex being. Every other being in this world is very simple. Man, complicated. A stone, he's a stone. He's a domem, he's inanimate. A plant A tzomeach, he's in his lane. He's a plant. That's all he is. He grows, he knows what to do, wait for the sun, the rain, and you grow. Simple, stay in your lane. A chai, an animal, has a lane to stay in also. Every animal has one distinct nature. He's a lot more intricate than a plant or than a stone, but he has a very simple line of thinking. What do? If you're a tiger, go try tame a tiger and live with a tiger like a doggy. Dogs can be tame. Tigers can be tame until one day they're not. Just the way it is. They have a certain nature. They're wild animals. They will stay wild. So every animal has its exact distinct nature. A raven is cruel. An eagle is compassionate. Just the way it is. What are humans? Medaber. Depends on the day. Not the day, depends on the minute. One minute he's happy, the next minute he's sad. Up, down. Compassionate, cruel. Whichever way you want. It's such a mixture. Because man, Medaber, the speaker, the king of creation, is comprised of everything together. He's comprised of a bit of inanimate, a bit of vegetation, a bit of the wildlife, a bit of the animal, all that you have inside you. Which means you have these emotions, they go crazy. You have this way of understanding things, and you have, all of you is just a complicated being. Right? There's 4 elements in the world: fire, wind, water, and earth. So man is comprised of all of them. Contrast that, for example, with angels. Angels are not comprised of all types. An angel is exactly, he's like an animal. He stays in his lane. Right? There's the angel Michael, there's the angel Gabriel, Raphael in the story with Abraham Avinu. Each one came and did whatever he was told to do, and he had one mission, and he stuck with his mission. And that's it. If I'm chesed, I'm kindness, that's what I am. If I'm gvura, severity, that's what I am. What is a human being? Anything but that. Even when you look at yourself and you say, I have a distinct nature, you'll notice how you could be having the same problem for the last 30 years. Same exact issue, and you can't get out of it. And you're stuck. Like whatever you were struggling with when you were 20, you're struggling with when you're 50, exactly the same thing. You think you got over it? Nothing. It's exactly the same thing. Yeah, but if you want, you could flip it over in a second. Hard work, indeed. But because you have a brain, an intellect, you can process things in a new way. And yes, if you're a little kid, it's a lot easier to do it than if you're 65 years old. But you can always change as a human being, because humans are comprised of everything together. Now, a human has an element that no other being has. Now we're going to speak about not a human, but rather the Jew. The Jew is a godly being. Just like Hashem is not limited to anything, so too, Yisrael alu b'machshava. We are Hashem's thought. So, you know what a thought is? Not the subject you're thinking about. What does the thought mean? A thought is a part of you, and I'm thinking something in my head. What am I doing? My head is processing something, right? So what the thought is, that you can insert whatever you want. But the thought itself is just a thought. So the way to look at it is, a Jew, Israel, alu b'machshava. We are Hashem's thinking. Every Jew is a different thought. What you're thinking is something different. But what you are at your core is the thinking of Hashem. That's what you are. Now what's the problem? That what you are inside, what you are internally, not necessarily are you cognizant of that externally. So what you are is a part of Hashem. But what you deal with on a practical, day-to-day, mundane level, you got a lot of issues going on. What you want to do is discover the internal fire inside you. There's a fire of Hashem inside you. It's burning bright inside you. And what you want to do is discover that fire. And when you do, that fire consumes everything else. So just like with korbanot, what are you doing? You're taking an animal and you're putting him on the mizbeach and you're letting him go and he becomes consumed by Hashem. That's our work in this world. The work is to allow ourselves to be consumed by the fire of Hashem. Where's the fire of Hashem? Right here, inside of you. What you want to do is discover that internal fire. So you are Hashem's thinking. You are divine thought. You are godly. You are one with Hashem. And then you thrust into an external being. What happens when you get thrown inside there? Another fire gets lit up. In our lives, there's a fire, and it's not a good one. The fire is, throw a human being into this world. You know what's going to happen? He's going to look around, and he's going to try go this direction. He wants to be successful, and it's not going to work. So what happens to him? In that space between where you want to be and where you think you ought to be and where you are, there's a lot of emotions that come about. Anger, jealousy, hatred, addictions. They all come about in the space of where you want to be and where you are. The disparity between the two is what leads to all the negativity. Here's the work. The work is to offer a korban to Hashem. How do you do that? When you're angry, you're on fire, right? It's like viciousness. You feel that anger inside of you. Every human being gets it. You feel a certain measure of fire inside of you. The work is to find a deeper fire and allow that fire to override this fire. That's the goal. The goal is to light up a deeper fire that takes over all the fires. In other words, you got an anger problem, you got a jealousy problem, you got an addiction problem. The solution is going deep inside yourself and finding an inner fire. So the pasuk says, Ki ata ta'ir neiri Hashem. Hashem, you will light my candle. VaHashem yagia choshki. Hashem will illuminate my darkness. What does it mean Hashem illuminates my darkness? It means when you get a relationship with Hashem, that relationship illuminates your darkness. So the way we like to read that verse is, Hashem illuminates my darkness. Hashem, help me, save me. And then when I daven to Hashem to save me. And Hashem says, nope, ain't gonna work. This is not a segula. It's not like you daven to Hashem, Hashem saves you. No, Hashem will save you. Meaning, you are gonna do the hard work of Hashem saving you. And you're like, but I'm not Hashem. What should I do? Yes, you are. Well, at least deep inside you, you have Hashem. And if you access Hashem inside you, VaHashem yagia choshki, then my darkness is illuminated. So even as in my external, I feel myself, my energy is sapped, and it's so hard, I'm going to discover Hashem. How do you discover Hashem? We have a very special prayer which is pivotal to Judaism. It's the fundamental prayer in Judaism. And you know we daven every single day. Every single day. The key of davening is the Shema. Close your eyes and you say, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. What do those words say? Listen, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. Next. Let's learn those words and see what they mean. Let's discover each one of them on its own. The key is Echad. What's Echad? Echad means that the problem is not a problem. There's no issue going on. It's externally an issue, but internally, it's just Hashem. Nothing bad is happening at any given moment. And it's your ability to decipher and discover the story behind the story. So at any given point in time, all you want to do is identify what the blockage is. The blockage is whatever you're feeling about the story. Anxiety. I got this anxiety externally. What do I want to do? Look deep inside. See the way it is? We Jews are told to say Shema every single morning and every single evening. And there's a whole davening built around it. You know why it's every single day? Because Hashem allotted you in this world X amount of time to live. 70, 80 years. That's what He gives us. That's life. And then something goes wrong and it's over. That's awesome. What it means is Hashem says to you, you see the animal inside you that work? There's 70, 80 years worth of an animal. Every single day, a new animal is going to enter you. Every single moment, a new animal is going to enter into you. And what you want to do is morning and evening sandwich him with offering a korban to Hashem. So every single morning and every single evening, you get into a relationship with the divine. And you look at the life and the things that are happening to you right now in your life, and you reconfigure them into a straight space. What's that space? Echad. So you want to meditate and reflect, and you let go. And you see that, you know what's happening? What's happening is Hashem is giving me a challenge. So it's not that so-and-so stole money from me. The guy steals money from you, and you're angry and mad at him, and you can't get out of it. Instead of trying to solve the problem, just notice the problem. I'm feeling very, very angry, and the guy stole money from me. And then you start recognizing nobody can steal any money from you, because however much money you're meant to make this year is exactly what you'll make, not one dime more or less. And if a guy stole from you, it's just Hashem didn't want that to go to you. Accept it. That's the meditation of Echad, that's lighting up Hashem in your life. It's what we Jews get internally. What's the name of a Jew? Yisrael. You know what Yisrael means? Yashar Kel. Yashar, straight, with Hashem. Kel is Hashem, but Kel is also my power. My power, I'm aligned with my power. If I go off the path, what happens? I'm disconnected. You got to veer back on path and be straight, connected with who you are. Because internally, you get that everything is good. You know internally that it's all wonderful. You're in Hashem's hands. It feels so good. It's so comforting. It's so beautiful to know that Hashem is taking care of me all the time. It's awesome. Hashem is just simply protecting you, guiding you, taking care of you, looking after you, making sure everything in your life goes right. Now, sometimes it goes wrong. It's not going wrong. It's just you moving into spaces where Hashem is sending you to bring more goodness to that space. How do you bring goodness to that space? You go in and you say, well, this is terrible. I'm feeling absolutely angry. And you say, but Hashem sent me over here to switch my anger into letting go. And that's what I am. So we Jews have to every morning gather ourselves together and say, Shema Yisrael, be Yisrael. Yashar Kel. Be straight with your internal koyach of who you are. Hashem is one with you. We are divine. At our core, we are divine. Livnei Yisrael Am Kroiva. We're Hashem's close nation. You know, the Medrash says, the Rabbi Yehuda Bar Simon says, when Hashem created Adam, so he said, Heina Adam haya ke'achad mimenu. This Adam became like one of us. So he said, what does it mean, ke'achad mimenu? Ke'achad mimenu is ki yechido shel olam. You're like Hashem. Because when you say echad, you become ke'achad mimenu, like Hashem. So we're trained in life to like turn to Hashem and say, Hashem, help me, I'm davening to you, please God. That's how we turn to Hashem. What is Hashem really saying? Hashem is saying, I want you to plug in and to align yourself with me. And when you do, you see your life becomes echad. So Hashem's going to send you all the time into crazy places. Stop every morning and every evening, pause and daven to Hashem. That means daven to Hashem, close everything out and realize Hashem is my power. Only Hashem has power over me. What does it mean? Yehei Shemei Rabba Mevorach. You know, it says, whoever says Amen Yesh Rabba Mevorach B'chol Koycha. You ever heard this one? When you come to shul, if you say Amen Yesh Rabba with all your might, what happens? You know what happens? It says then, Mekar'in lo gzar din shel ayin shana. A decree of 70 years is overturned. Sounds great, right? So how do you say Yehei Shemei Rabba Mevorach B'chol Koycha? You scream, Yay, Shemei. You ever seen shul? Rabba Mevorach. You scream with all your might. I once saw a guy do it. He was screaming with all his might. And then I called him out on it because his wife told me there was an issue. So he said Yesh Rabba with all his might, and then he went home and screamed at his wife. Literally. He was an abusive guy. But he's getting all the reward in this world because he says Yesh Rabba with all his might. So, you know, the decree of 70 years is ripped apart because you say Yesh Rabba. There's another way to say it. It means whoever says the great name of Hashem should be Mevorach. What's Mevorach, remember? Brought down. Whoever gets that the great name of Hashem is brought down Bechol Koichoi into all his potential, he brings Hashem down into his life. If you do that, life is exciting. Then a decree of 70 years is overturned. It's not a sgula, it actually works. Try it out. If you start realizing, you think to yourself, my life is such a disaster, everything's going wrong, everything's terrible, I'm so upset, I'm so unhappy because look, da. Or you say, like Yosef said, right? Hashem sent me here. Where? I don't know, to a dungeon. So cool. Hashem sent me to this world. There's a part, that's what happened. That is what happened. You're a part of Hashem. Hashem thrust you into this world, sent you right down here, and he says, go for it. Find me in this world. How do you find Hashem? By looking every moment and saying, I'm feeling this, notice the feeling. You know how you talk it out and you feel better? That's how it is. Talk it out to Hashem. Tell him how you feel. Tell him how it is. And then tell him, I know you're taking care of me. V'Hashem yagia choshki. Hashem illuminates my darkness. Ki ata neiri Hashem. It's therapeutic to meditate and reflect on Hashem constantly. So now let's read this word. Shema. We typically translate Shema as, here, listen. There's another translation of Shema. Shema means, in the pasuk in Shmuel, it says, Vayishama Shaul et ha'am. Shaul gathered the people. Shema means to gather. Close your eyes and say, I'm scatterbrained all over. These emotions are just driving me insane all over. And what I want to do is stop being so scattered all over. What does scattered mean? It means that every external force is able to pull you in a different direction. Literally, it's ridiculous. You ever notice, like, you come home and you're in a happy mood and someone in the family is not. And so they're angry. You know what happens 3 seconds after you walk into the house? They had a bad day. Now their bad day is inside you. Now you're also angry. And what you discover is you're scatterbrained. Every little thing that happens over there, you lose money, you're unhappy. You make money, you're happy. Right? Someone says a good word to you, a compliment, you're on top of the world, they critique you. Now you're feeling down. You see someone else's house, you become jealous. Right? All the feelings just go scatterbrained. That's called not living with Echad. It's called allowing the world to dictate how you feel. Every day, close your eyes. Nothing exists. Shema, put yourself together. Gather your thoughts together to one space. Shema, Yashar Kel. You're one aligned with your inner power, with Hashem. And Hashem is Elokeinu. What's Hashem? Hashem was, is, and will be. That's my power, Elokeinu. And that Hashem is Echad. There's nothing else besides Hashem. And if I recognize that in myself, and I allow myself to become happy and excited, then you know what happens? Ve'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha. What's b'chol levavcha? B'shnei yetzarecha. Both your inclinations. You discover that when someone gets angry and he's upset, right? They throw this, they literally, here it is, take my anger, right? Sends you a text. And what comes through the text? You talk a few words and anger. And you take that anger and what do? You don't throw it back. Because you're a Jew who said, you say anger, okay, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Feeling angry, got the anger there. I'm going to put myself together. This is not a situation of anger. Feel the anger. I'm going to work through it. Right? It doesn't happen like, yeah, I got over anger, now you're not angry anymore. It doesn't work that way. But once you notice what just happened, Instead of responding, anger, response. Absorb. Notice what just happened. There's a feeling of anger there. And then you're like, is it really so bad? Doubt the feeling. And then you send it back. That's how we do Shema. And when you do it, you discover that Bechol levavcha means with both your inclinations. Because now you'll know why that anger was sent at you. You know why it was sent at you, so you should send back love. Because once you recognize that person's anger, and you say, whoa, you've got a feeling of anger, right? Now I'm gonna send you back love. If you didn't recognize that anger, then when you send back the love, you say to him, you have nothing more to be angry about, it's all good. They didn't get it. You can't help them. You can only help them if you recognize where they are. Yeah, it's hard. Yes. And now I'm sending you back love. That's what it means to offer a korban to Hashem. A korban to Hashem means when you take an animal, a whole animal, and you put him on the mizbeach and he becomes consumed by the fire of Hashem. That's life. That's davening. That's the Shema. There's an animal, the anger, the jealousy, the anxiety, and the addiction, and you notice him. That's called the animal. And then you say, let's go Shema. Chad. I close my eyes, I put him on my Shema, and I reconfigure the feeling. And that's life. Offering korbanos all the time. It's really hard. But it changes your whole experience of life. It doesn't mean the outside changes, it just means the inside changes. You know what happens when you have an inside change? The outside aligns itself with the inside. Bechol levavcha b'shnei yitzarecha means both your inclinations. The animal becomes a part of Hashem. So that's the introduction. Now the rabbis tell us in the Gemara that you need to put on tefillin when you say the Shema. You can't just say Shema. You have to have a black box with parchment and the Shema written in it in ink on your head and on your arm. And if you say Shema with tefillin, then it works. And if not, it's like bringing a korban without its libations or without its mincha, its grain sacrifice. And why is that? And here comes the answer to that question. What does Hashem want of us? He wants us to let go and to have absolute bitachon in Hashem. He wants us to trust in Him and to be completely convinced that everything is good. So when something really, 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 really terrible happens, instead of thinking what you're going to do about it, think of how you're feeling. And notice it, and get yourself to a space of happiness. That's the Shema. Now that you've done that, what's the next piece of the work? Don't stay home and do nothing. Now go right back into that anger, that place where it came from, into that tension, and walk right into it with your bitachon. Because Hashem wants a physical world. We say in davening, Vayar Yisrael es hayod hagdola asher asa Hashem b'Mitzrayim. The Jews saw the great hand of Hashem. How do you find Hashem? Hashem is not Hashem, help me. Not only that, it's Hashem, I feel that everything over here is from you. I'm going to work on myself to feel that. And then what's going to happen? I'm going to express that and spread it all out. In Mitzrayim. What's Mitzrayim? Mitzrayim is my limitations. Mitzrayim is the problem itself. Because Hashem says, I want V'yad'u Mitzrayim ki ani Hashem. It's a special secret of Hashem. He says, I didn't put you guys into a problematic situation for no reason. You know why bad things happen to good people? So that good people can change them. That's why. So he puts you in these very challenging positions, and it's not for naught. It's for you to be able to bring goodness into that position. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. Simple. So the way Hashem does it is He wants us to do mitzvahs, right? For example, you know how hard it is to give tzedakah? You ever really give tzedakah? You know what the problem with tzedakah is? Why it's so difficult? Because you have to first make money in order to get the tzedakah, right? And making money, you put your life into it. It's really hard. And it chisels away at your whole inner being. It's so difficult. It's so challenging to give tzedakah. It's like, wow. And it's not easy. When you do tzedakah, what are you doing? You're taking kindness which is a divine attribute, and you're making it physical. So there's a piece of money, a check, and I got this dollar in my hand, hopefully $100,000. I got it in my hand and I'm writing it out, and it's really hard for me. When I'm writing it out and I'm actually giving it, can you see the difference? If I'm feeling kindness in my heart, that's so beautiful. That's wonderful. And your heart's on fire. But when you write the check, then the money is on fire. The physical world is suddenly absorbed into divine energy, and that's what God's looking for from us. He wants ein oid milvadoi, to be fully expressed in the real world. He doesn't want you to have bitachon and keep it in your heart. He wants you to have bitachon and push it out into the world. And that's why he gives us hard situations. He says, relying on me, you got me? Is Hashem taking care of you? Yes. You got it? Okay, now go do the work. Crazy work. And you say, but if Hashem's taking care of me, why am I doing the work? Because Hashem wants the physical world to be also absorbed into Hashem, to be also a korban to Hashem. And so by doing the actual work, he wants these Jews who really said Shema and feel Hashem's presence, and then they walk into all the fights and all the tensions and all the hard places and the difficult positions, and they bring Hashem right there and they do the mitzvahs. So tefillin represents all the mitzvahs. And then the will of Hashem gets practical, gets actualized in this world. That's called conquering Eretz Kina'an. Eretz is land, physicality, Gashmius. The physical world becomes part of Hashem. Do you ever notice, isn't it fascinating? Why is the land of Canaan, the land of Israel, always called the land of Canaan? Canaan is the bad guy. Why do we in the Torah call it the land of Canaan? Because Canaan means leachnia, to subdue, to surrender. What Hashem wants is, he says, see, the world is lowered down. I want you to go into the world and subdue it. And so he sends us all on a mission in this world. And the goal is for you to every morning and every evening recognize Hashem. Close your eyes and say the Shema. And when you say the Shema and you recognize, you put yourself together and you no longer scatterbrain the Hashem Echad, it's all good. And then when it's all good, what do? Go into the bad, the Eretz Kenaan, and be machniahim, subdue the land, subdue the earthliness. Walk in and say, I have no idea what's happening in my life. I have no idea what the solution is, but I'm feeling awesome about it. And you walk around, all the people around you know you're feeling awesome. It's unbelievable. It's so good. It's great. It's wonderful. It's all good. What's happening? I don't know. I'm failing. And life's a miserable disaster. And everything's terrible. And who cares? It's not miserable. It's me going in to save misery from, to find God in the miserable situation. So go in and bring it there with excitement. What do miserable situations do when a happy person walks in? They stop being miserable. When the Jews walked into the land of Canaan, the Torah tells us there's a special miracle that took place. There was this a hornet, a wasp. You know the story? It's Tzirah, it's called. Tzirah. This Tzirah says it actually didn't go into the land of Israel. It stood outside. And it was a special animal, a special hornet, little bird, little creature, whatever. And what he did was, he walked inside, and the Jews were encountering these tremendous, powerful nations, Gdolim Ba'atzumim. They were strong and mighty. And Hashem says, I'll send the Tzirah, and the Tzirah will do the work for you. What did the Tzirah do? It said it would blind them on top, so the eyes became blinded, the enemy, and it castrated them on the bottom. And you say, what does that mean to us? You have a land of Canaan to conquer. What's the land of Canaan? Your physical life is what you want to conquer. You want to bring Hashem to the physical world. So you want to say the Shema, and then you want to walk right into the tension. You want to walk right into it and bring Hashem in. And you say, Hashem, I can't. I'm encountering 7 nations. Who are the 7 nations? 7 primary emotions. That's what you encounter. Chesed, addiction. Gvura, anxiety. All those fellows, right? Insecurity. Like, they strong, powerful, mighty nations. And when you walk inside them, you say, I don't know how to conquer this. And Hashem says, don't worry, the tzira is going to do the work. Who's the tzira? The tzira is something we need to activate. See, what happens in life is, life leads you to be frustrated. Life is almost like built to be frustrated. That's what it's built for. It's built for you. You have a Yetzer Hara, and the Yetzer Hara likes looking at things and getting upset. So what you'll notice is, all the time, you're mad over this, you're unhappy with that, you're stressed over that, you're frustrated, and you learn how it works, and you still get frustrated. Why? By design. Because that's what Hashem wants. He wants you to walk in, and that's the fire that's lit up inside you. And then He wants you to notice. In the Shema prayer, in Parsha number 2, what do we say? We say, V'charaf Hashem bachem. Hashem gets angry at you. And you turn away because you turned away. V'sartem v'avatem elekim acherim, because you turned away and served idols. You know what that means? When you say the Shema, you become sensitive and you start noticing your little emotions inside you. And every time an emotion of anger and jealousy and stress surfaces, you're like, I noticed you, I gotcha. And you just become very, very aware of what happens. People who don't say the Shema don't internalize the Shema, are not aware. So the feelings come their way and they actually think they're angry. In other words, someone upset him, he gets angry, he's, instead of noticing the anger, he's over there. He's thinking about how he's gonna steal and change that and upset and whatever, and for 30 years, he's gonna be lying in the space of what he can do about the anger. Hello? Don't do it over there, do it over here, in the heart. There's an anger over there, take care of it. When you say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, then you notice all these negative feelings more. That's why in the Shema we say, Hashem gets angry, because you start noticing all the negative feelings and you realize how my work is to send the tzira at them. Whenever you get that negative emotion, bring out your little hornet and say, sting him. Send that venom at him. How do you send the venom? Simple. You blind him in his eyes and you castrate him up and down. And what does that mean? Those negative feelings, right? Those powerful nations, those are the 7 emotions. What happens to them? The 7 emotions are only strong because you allow them to be strong. So when you feel anger and you feel sadness, depressed, what's it from? Very simple what it's from. It's because you're looking at the world without Hashem Echad. And if I say Hashem Echad, then you're like, you lost the money, He didn't steal it from you. Hashem did it. You go work on your relationship with Hashem. So when you work on your relationship with Hashem, you start seeing the world in a different way. That's called blinding the emotions. And emotions have 2 things. Number 1, they're very strong because they see the world in a bad light. And number 2, they get hot. They get excitable. And you castrate them. That means get rid of their heat. You see that? When you say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, you sting your negative emotions. So again, let's regroup. Here's what we're learning. You saying Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Why are you doing that? Because you have a hard life. Life is tough. Every moment, it's difficult. Every day. So Hashem says, wake up in the morning, put yourself together. Hashem is the truth. Yashar Kel, Yisrael. And then you scatterbrain, Shema. Put yourself together into the space of Echad. Constantly notice how you're deviating, the feelings deviating, and put yourself back together. What you're doing is taking the animal inside you, the deviation, and bringing it to Hashem constantly. And you're noticing how in that space, the Charaf Hashem Lachem B'tzayit L'Shamayim, you're turning away from Hashem because you're sensitive. That's why. And so this is called offering korbanos to Hashem. But Hashem says, this Kriyat Shema must be said with tefillin. In other words, I don't want you to just say the Shema in your locked up synagogue, in your shul, and then not go out. I want you to go out and deal with the issues and face them directly. That's what it means, say the Shema, with putting on the physical tefillin. It's written in the physical tefillin. And then you can face the issues as they go out there. So you got to go out, make money, and then you have to make a decision to give tzedakah. That's called bringing Hashem into money. You're drawing God down. And the negative forces are going to constantly come up at you. Again and again and again. It's not that you learned and you know how to do it and now everything's fine. You'll keep on getting angry, you'll keep on feeling addictions, and you'll keep on feeling jealousy and all that. And every time you're going to do it, you're just going to notice it. And you're going to say, hey, Tzira, come out and help me. What's the Tzira? It's the force inside you of, you said the Shema, and then you sting him. And when you sting him, you take the midah, the negative emotion, which is the 7 nations of the land, the physicality comes with 7 negative emotions, and you sting him. And what does that mean? You say, let's look at the world from a perspective of echad. So you blind his eyes. You only get angry and jealous when you're seeing the world not through echad. And then he's no longer heated up. That's castrating him, the negative emotion, because he's suddenly aligned with Hashem. He doesn't get so excitable. The Meraglim, the spies, did not want to walk into the land of Canaan. They came in and they said something very powerful. They said, this is too hard for us. Eretz ochelet yoshvea. We want to just say the Shema and not go out into the world. We don't want to say the Tefillin. We don't want that. We don't want it. We want to say the Shema and we don't want to do the work. That's the answer to this lady. She's saying, why do I have to have bitachon and work and then what? And then Hashem wants you to trust in him and then call the broker up. Call the broker, do the work. And the broker's going to tell you no, and it's going to be hard, and the house will sell, won't sell, whatever's going to happen. Those are the issues in life you deal with. And when you put Hashem Echad into them, it works wonders. But the Meraglim say, we don't want to go in. You know why? The Meraglim came back. They checked out the land, and they said, Shiva goyim gdolim ba'atzumim. They came back and they convinced the entire Jewish people that it's too hard to face physical challenges. So they said, the 7 nations, the 7 emotions are strong. Gdolim ba'atzumim mimeka. You know what that means? Read that. Stronger mimeka than you. Too difficult. There was one spy over there, one of the 2, Kalev. He comes and he says, you guys got the story wrong. Sar tzilam me'alehem. They have no shade over them, those negative emotions. V'Hashem itanu al tira'um. Hashem is with us, you have nothing what to fear. It's like anti-Semitism. The 7 nations of the world. The 7 nations of Canaan multiplied by the 70 nations around. And you get afraid. It looks sometimes like we're done. There's no way we can survive this. We get scared. Kolev says, you guys read the verse wrong. It doesn't say Shiva goyim rabim ba'atzumim mimeka. You read it as 7 nations mightier and stronger than you? No. Hashem itanu al tira'um. If you're thinking of them and afraid of them, that's when there's a problem. If Hashem is with us, you're like, I said my Shema. I know that it's all God. That God is actually controlling everything. That there's no United Nations. Who cared about them? Like who cares about the whole thing? It doesn't exist. It's all one with Hashem. So why is Hashem not saving us? Because Hashem wants you to walk into the anxiety and not be afraid. Don't worry. The Jewish people have been around. We'll be around. We'll get through this. How? No idea. Just like we never had an idea in the past. And he wants you to recognize that and to bring it out into the open. He says, reread that verse. Shiva goyim gdolim ba'atzumim. You know why they're mighty and strong? Mimeka. Because you made them strong. Because you're scared of them. When you don't believe in yourself, and you don't have a perspective that Hashem is going to take care of you, then you become like the spies. You're scared of your own shadow. You'll never walk in. You'll never do anything. But when you say the Shema, and you're strong, because you realize Hashem itanu, Hashem is with us, and you feel the might of Hashem and the power of Hashem in your life, then Shiva goyim gdolim ba'atzumim. Why are they strong? Mimeka, because of you. Whenever you feel that crazy emotion of anger and addiction and sadness and jealousy, it's nothing. If you realize Hashem is with us, you close your eyes and you find Hashem with you. I was talking about this concept yesterday, the other day. I was at yeshiva. It's for bringing with the guys, my son's birthday, so we're talking about this for bringing with all the Bachar. And my brother walked in. My brother deals with wounded soldiers. So he said, I want to tell you a story. He's like, right now they're having a lot of intense stuff going on. And so they're bringing out wounded soldiers from Israel. And they bring them here. And now they realize that, kol hakavod to Israel, but Israel is very backward on medicine. And America is actually pretty developed. So what he's doing is he brought a whole team of doctors. Now, they're coming up here and they come to learn some basics. And the basics are, unfortunately, sadly, terribly, in Israel, what's going on now is a lot of amputees, right? One of the best places, by the way, for amputees is right down the road over there on Flatlands Avenue. Right here is where they go. There's a guy over there. He does one of the best places out there, and he makes prosthetic limbs. Anyway, you go to this doctor, and they have a brand new thing in medicine, and we should have forgot the name of the procedure, but he brought so my brothers bring the biggest professors in Israel to come here, and said he came with one big professor, and he told him before we do anything, we go to the oil. He took him to the oil. This big professor, he says, listen, professor, I go to the mikveh before. So but you're going to wait outside, it's fine. He says, no, if we're going, I'm going with you. There's this big chashuv professor comes in, he goes into the mikveh, he has to do whatever you do in the mikveh, and there's some bachim there, it wasn't wonderful, but it was great. He says, feeling the power of the mikveh. Anyway, so he goes out and he takes him to these limbs. Now they have this thing that the soldier is terrible. He wasn't even supposed to be called up, and he wanted to go himself, a married guy, and he wanted to go out, and he went out, and in Khan Yunis, there was a terrible thing happened, and he lost both his feet, amputated both his feet. So now to the knees, that's what he has. Now they have this thing where they can put on feet nowadays, and he says you won't know the difference. They can literally put on the feet on the bottom of the thing, and they can connect it to you, and it'll be perfect. And the Israeli doctors come to learn how, so they took this patient and they bring him in. Forgot the procedure. He says the doctor walks out, tells my brother, he says, this is the procedure, this is what it is. This guy, I can't do it for him. He said, why not? He said, well, it's perfect for him actually. He has exactly everything fits in. He's perfect. He said, why can't you do it for him? He says, because I interviewed the guy for an hour. He spoke to the doctor, this big professor in Manhattan, I forget which hospital. Spoke to him for a whole hour. He says at the end of the day, this guy has one problem. He doesn't believe he's ever going to walk again. He's a young guy, right? Married with a couple of kids, very young guy, and he doesn't believe he's ever going to walk again. The doctor says, there's only one thing I can't give the guy, his belief. If he doesn't believe he's going to walk again, then he won't walk again. And until the day he doesn't come back to me and say, I know, because the brain takes over. It's like, that's how it works. The brain introduces into the feet and dictates to them, and then I can make him walk. If you don't believe in yourself, you can't do it. And that's the key. The key is, Hashem tells us, he says, what the problem with the spies, and what did Kalev have? Simple. Kalev walked into the most impossible situation, and he says, Hashem itanu. And he expressed what Judaism is about. Judaism is about your ability to say the Shema. The Shema is offering a korban to Hashem. But korban needs to come together with a mincha and a sachim. That means not just the animal, but the physical will needs to be changed. So as you let your heart and you give yourself over totally to Hashem, and you recognize Hashem Echad, Hashem says, okay, and now I want you to walk into your own position. Impossible positions, very difficult situations. And I want you to encounter the midah right there directly, and you're going to send that hornet, your internal hornet, against him. And you're going to tell him, I said Shema. And he's going to say, but I don't care what you said. I'm still angry. And I'm still feeling the anxiety. And I don't believe. And you're going to walk in with your emunah, and you're going to say, no, but it is. The emunah is real. And if you can actually literally say that, and it's such hard work. Whew, it's hard work. But if you can say the emunah in his face directly, then he disappears. He's blinded, he's castrated, he disappears. There's no negative midah. No one has a power over us. All they want is that we should actually internalize that and believe that. And that's why I say Shema and put on the tefillin, the physical tefillin. Not just the spiritual work, the physical work. And yes, call the broker, do the work. And then Hashem is going to make incredible echad miracles in your life. And you say, wow, I saw God in Mitzrayim, in that space I found Hashem.